Good morning, everyone. All right, so market gaps up, and for the most part, it sat there and was a slow grinder yesterday, and just a narrow range bar after gapping up, and things are up here a little bit further this morning. And so we'll see where it goes. We've got another unfilled gap um, down below here. So a move under today's low, whenever it happens, there's your first uh, gap fill point, and there's plenty of them. I don't know if I can bring up part here. Different screen here, but um, different unfilled gaps. So there's the one yesterday in the Dow. The Dow held up pretty well, kind of backed off there at the end of the day, but you've got this unfilled gap down here. This one gapped up, but it didn't clear the prior um, day's high. So really, it's a gap between bars, and we've got this one down here in November. These are just things to be aware of. Just looking further back, my markup charts here, displaying them in the advisory letters. There's unfilled gaps here and here. So it's good to know where they are because at some point they'll come into play again. Set alerts there and just forget them for now. Uh, so we've got this market that, call it igniting gap. And here, this was potentially an exhaustion gap, but it just chopped sideways. And this is kind of a lot of stocks, the price action that's been going on um, after the move up initially in November. And so now we wonder, let's go back to the other charts. Um, since there's been a resting period and we've got a range expansion bottoming tail bar, another igniting gap. Well, I guess that's the way we have to look at it until proven otherwise. But interesting market to say the least. It's 2020. We're almost near the end. So see, let's get rid of our red line. There's nothing there. Move it. Done. Major support with a little double bottom down there, two pivot lows, and an unfilled gap. So let's look at the cues. Well, we got good cues there. Another gap up, and that backed off interestingly, and then came roaring all the way back, hung up there at the high of the day. So sellers weren't running for the exits, looking for this to continue into the end of the year. Must be, since that's what the charts are displaying what others think. So a continuation gap. It held up. It's up here a little bit more, 314-ish. So gapping up again, and we'll see if maybe into the end of the week it's just like gap up, and kind of like something sort of like this where it gets a little extended short term, and maybe goes vertical. Another sign of a short term top. Speculation in the Russell moving up as it has. Leading the way, small caps, and that one didn't stay up there. And so selling continued there. That was more of a gap and crap type of situation, but you can see it certainly was able to hold prior pivot low by looking to the left. And there's another unfilled gap down here. It's defaulting to red. I don't know. I guess I must have done it that way at some time. Anyway, green. Send it. Oh, where are we now? One, one, 188. Oh, thereabouts flat, give or take. That's where it ended the day, was up, came back down a little bit. So like we're going to see additional profit taking there. And go to the futures. And so we get a 24-hour bar now. So now we've got a wide range bar since it was trading pre-market. We've got a wide range bar coming off a little, well, you can call that a pullback, a little minor retracement. So looking at that, it's like buyers are so aggressive here. It doesn't even pull back to the pivot low. We had this little, that's even real, I think it is, move lower and then immediately come back up again, and now continuation, and we'll see where it goes step by step. And so with a pattern like this, almost every day, one of the topics of discussion in the green room is about, when do I move my stop? Well, you start moving stops when patterns are created that shouldn't be violated. And at times, a pivot low is that bar where it comes down in 3 bars and it moves up and makes a new high. So, okay, bring your stop back up, bring it higher above that prior pivot. And then as momentum picks up and we get a wide range bar like that, it's like, well, buyers were aggressive, big momentum bar, clearing a prior high. And so the easy thing to do is to say, well, what would that look like if it broke down below that? Not good. Bring the stop below the wide range bar. When you get a range expansion bar, especially one that clears the highs like that after a little minor consolidation type of a pullback, it shouldn't do that. And that's where we always say, well, there's a wide range bar, just put it in your imaginary line in the middle of it, and any kind of retracements, being objective, not like, oh my God, the current bar is a red bar. What's going to happen? Well, red bars obviously can turn into green bars by the end of the day. So we just say, well, as long as it holds in the upper half, and ideally in the upper third, we say everything's okay. That's normal. We expect it to continue, but it should not break below the low of yesterday's bar at this point. Pretty simple, common sense. Just really knowing what to look at and when to say, hey, that is something. Didn't really want to look at Citigroup, but financials have been holding up pretty good. So here are NASDAQ futures, range expansion bar, wide range bar, new high, new all-time highs. It should not break below that. So, well, where are we now? What happens today? Well, as long as it stays in the upper half, it's fine. If this is closing below that low, call spread, bear call spread, put, sell it short, it should go down. Now, of course, we're going into the end of the year, volume's going to lighten up, but that's the thought process under normal conditions. I suspect it's not going to collapse into the end of the year, even if it was to close down here, but it's likely to kind of drift lower. But let's see where this actually ends by the end of the day. So do the same factory work, put our line in the middle, and 12,800. And duplicate that, and look where it ends up. As if we couldn't look inside of that bar, but that couldn't be in a more perfect place just based on price pattern of a consolidation and this dip down and this bullish 180 right back up again of not violating that area. And so give or take, that's where it should stay above. All right, let's take a look at YM, which is up 157 points here. And it's made its little peekaboo to a new all-time high. Wow. Well, party hats for CNBC going into end of 2020, new all-time highs all over the place. What an amazing year this has been. Hope to not see it again in my lifetime. Anyway, so same story. 30,000. 30,000. You want to see something kind of interesting, humorous, and I won't watch it again. It's kind of a spoof on 2020. Watch it on Netflix. I don't know when it came out, but I saw it late last night. It was kind of like wasn't it was kind of meant to be funny, but it wasn't really so funny. And YM, not YM, the Russell topping tail up there, so rejected, new all-time high there. But look at the closing prices as we do, just flatlining, really not going anywhere either. So a topping tail within an uptrend, we have to respect it, but it really did no damage as far as retracement into a prior area that it moved up from. Joe, just look for 2020 or search 2020. I don't remember the whole title of it, but um, yeah, bonds just continue this grind up and down now for a couple of months. Interesting that it's lasted this long. You can see it condensing it there. Red bars ignored, green bars ignored, bottoming tail bars didn't go anywhere. Just a ideal picture of stay away. I guess you can trade it intraday, but you know, the highs and lows stay relatively consistent. But notice, it's getting tighter, and highs are getting lower, lows are getting higher, and it's kind of reaching an inflection point of okay, enough's enough. Here can't really get much tighter other than move it all. But it looks like it's getting ready. I guess into January we'll see this move one way or the other. And crude oil just hanging up there, quiet. Started to pull back and went nowhere. And gold, same story. I've been repeating this pretty much now for a while of this downside, potential downside shakeout of this a little more sideways movement here to resume the move. And silver, it's interesting down here a little bit, but I guess it's already led the way. So it's starting to rest here. I like the pattern. Maybe a little dip, some kind of bottoming tail bar, correction bar along here. And lastly, the transports. Kind of hanging out. And this is the fly in the ointment of the bullish case. And one of the things I started mentioning even over a week ago was transports can lag for some time and the markets continue. And it's exactly what's happening. We had this nasty gap reversal and it's consolidating in the lower half here. A little bit of a rejection yesterday, not a big deal. And this 217 area, keep an eye on it. And look, we always have two scenarios. Got to stay objective as traders. So while as ugly as that is, it's the weakest link. Right? It's a momentum move, and which means that there's no resistance. So it's got to create it, and that's what's beginning to happen here. Not that it can't get over it, but just to point out the concept of the resistance that's been created here now. So intraday, if this can, just see it's a trading range, right? So you just look at the two areas, highs and lows there, and if it can get through here, it's probably going to go right up to the top of the bearish wide range bar. So right now it's in a trading range until it's not. So set your alerts, right? And what's going on in between here? Really not anything to be concerned about because it's not going anywhere. That's it, everybody. We'll see where today shapes up here. What's moving? Things are moving. So individual stocks, and Dan will cover some of those. So all yours, Dan.
Good morning. Yeah, Joe, one of the reasons I say that with such confidence, what I just typed, there was a pretty good interview article and towards the tail end of Barron's last weekend with one of the Fed presidents. I forget what district, it doesn't matter. And one of the questions was, are you concerned with stock market bubble by you keeping artificial rates down. And the guy said, no. He said, what do you want me to do? Do you want me to raise rates just to contain the stock market and then have more unemployment and hurting the economy? So no, he just came out blatantly said, no, I don't care. But it was a good article. All right, I made a couple of adjustments to our opens. Everything looks fine. Lemonade. We had a call spread, and I saw it. We had a nice gap down this morning. We still have a nice open profit, but I tightened the stop. I sent that alert out. This Kindy actually started going against us, and it was right at our original stop. So I just said, let's just get out of that break even and not have to have a potential headache. P-time, we have a call spread, so this one's down more, and we'll just tighten the stop on that and try to get out at a nickel. Amazon, we actually have two put spreads, gapping up 24 bucks. Yeah, I mean, that one was so good. We said, yeah, let's do another one for next week. So I'm just commenting, obviously not on everything, just on any individual ones that warrant comment. But if you have any questions on anything, ask me. I've gone through everything. I think everything's fine. All right, gappers. Now this one's a little different, but I like the fact that it went up. You got a topping tail. It could take a couple days if it can just chop around up here at these levels. I like the fact that it broke out and it has a price void to 16. So I'm just going to keep it on my list. Sina, buy today. It's, up 6 bars, far from the 20. I would say it's a buy on a pullback, but not here. Oh, another one, Nike. We entered a put spread yesterday, and I think this is a long watch also. I sent a telegram to our advisory folks, gapping up to all-time high, buy setup, right on minor support, bottoming tail, gapping over yesterday's high. It looks great. So I'll keep an eye on that with our, what the market's going to do on the first half of Rio, gap breakout, but it's an ADR, maybe 30-minute high. Candy we talked about. Snap had a big gap, but there's no pattern. It's gapping right to resistance. Oh, I still have MU on my list. Remember we nailed this thing at the M top? Perfect. Just the turn at resistance. And now it's going sideways, showing relative weakness. So under last week's low, I like that both as a short and a bear call credit spread. Norwegian's on my list. Yeah, it made the turn, red bar ignored. It's just not a great price void for directional, but yeah, many of these are put spread candidates. Really? Billing, we don't like buy setups after they're kind of climactic. So it could be okay for a day trade, but it's kind of too extended as a swing for me. John, Nike, yeah, I just talked about. I like Nike over the high. We'll just time it with the futures here because of the gap up. Facebook, wait for 1, 2, 3. Yeah, definitely, because it's a wide range bar into resistance. Yeah, definitely. I like Netflix better, Khaled, because It's more of a fluid move down. See this? So this one's definitely on my list over yesterday's high for put spread. On Fubo, we actually had a beautiful call spread. We got out yesterday and this afternoon little pop. Um, maybe yesterday's high, we'll turn around and sell a put spread for Thursday. Remember, I'm going to keep saying Thursday because Friday's off. Oh, also, Nikla. Remember this thing looked like death? Look, when things look like such obvious no-brainer shorts, which is fine, I got no problem shorting that, and you got your stop and you manage in between. But notice how that was a big reversal, increasing volume. So my thought now is, let's see if it can develop into a breakdown failure. And Zoom, yeah, you've heard me say for weeks, I think this thing's going to I think it's a magnet to the 200 here. It's just, I missed the, it wasn't there, like, look at it now. I always like to do analysis to say where something's a no-brainer. Tell me where your no-brainer short would have been. Yeah, we had a breakout failure, but then it came down to support, down 3 days. It just wasn't, an easy pitch, but I sure think it's going lower too. Um, DPW we entered yesterday, and this one's gapping up a little bit. Boeing, yeah, Boeing's in my list over here. Just they're in the news of, I guess their airplane is going to start flying again. That's good. So there's a DPW where we bought this yesterday. Beautiful gap breakout. Buy set up on the weekly. Grammy, what does break mean? RMG. Oh. If someone can tell me when earnings are on RMG, I like this as a bear call credit spread. Went vertical, nasty reversal, 180 reversal. I looked at 3 sources and can't find it. SBE, this could be a day trade short. Yeah, no, but Gertz, that I saw that also on earnings.com. But the reason you cannot believe that is because there's 4 earnings reports in a year, right? 4 quarterlies. And if this is 12/29, you're missing one. So that's actually telling me that I think it's in January and we don't know the date yet. You see, so I just taught you something about quarterly dates. Ah, there you go, 218. Okay. So now see, that makes sense. Because then you add four months. All right, so this though, let's under pre-market, well, I don't know, let's just watch it, but it could be. Let's see. YouTube's asking about frog. We're in a put spread on this. No. I mentioned yesterday somebody asked about frog, and I said stay away from it. We're holding our breath. We have a $60 put with a big stop. No, I got zero interest in frogs at this point in time. Someone's asking about Neo. I don't know what the question is on today's, but nothing is jumping out at me. It was a breakout failure, breaking down. I'm not sure what you are thinking, but if I had to guess, it could be a day trade short, but I see nothing on the daily. Let me continue here. SBE is what I just talked about. Maybe 30-minute low. Baba, Baba's been in the news with Chinese antitrust people going after him. And it's in a nasty downtrend, but if we get a nice reversal, which today might be that day, then we can consider a put spread just for Thursday or a day trade. Gap breakout here, GOED. I have no idea what it is, but it's a gap breakout. And it's actually not too big. You know, the ones that I don't like is a gap up here to 16 bucks. And what do you want me to do with that? So this one's a watch. So I got Nike on the other computer, GOED. I'm gonna watch this little guy. There's the Boeing we talked about. There's no pattern on Boeing. It's gapping up to resistance. I have 30-minute high. It could be a day trade. Um, it's just Nike looks better. Amazon yesterday looked better. You know, even spiders, XLK. I just maybe just trade some of these ETFs if I don't have a no-brainer setup. Snap has a big gap here, but it's gapping to a wall of resistance. Here is another one gapping up. CANG, no idea what they do, but we'll keep an eye. 30-minute high. STAP. Yeah, that's a beautiful pre-market. Gapped up, curling in. Yeah, that looks good. Yesterday was a gap breakout. Yep, I'll check out RMG. SAP could be a put spread or a day trade. Hey, Alan Hannawalt, welcome. I don't recognize your name, but where you're typing to us, if you can change the drop down to all panelists and attendees. Everyone's asking about SFIX. That was a nasty, biggest red bar in months. So I don't know what you're thinking again. That's why it's best if you all ask me a question, because otherwise I'm just making up what I think you're asking. It looks lower to me on the daily. So I don't know if you're wanting to short a 30-minute low, which I'd say is fine, or if you're wanting to scalp a 10-minute high because of the price void. I don't know what you're thinking. I personally am not a fan into scalping into igniting bars because they just are not going to act the same. Yeah, so I like it short too. So now you say, okay, well, where do I want to short and where's my stop? And then time it with the market. And I personally don't do anything in the first 5 minutes. I just sit back and watch my opens. I watch my tier one setups. See what, if it can't bounce for 10 minutes, Alan, then yeah, short a 10-minute bounce. I mean, a 10-minute low. 10-minute low. Netflix here. It has to take out yesterday's high where I have no interest. On DPZ, we have a put spread for Thursday, but I tightened the stop. We're at 75% of max value. SBGI, we entered yesterday. It's 1, 2, 3. On target, I did not enter because it gapped over the entry. Wow, it ticks over 1,000 here. No, Frank, it does not mean it. Well, yeah, look at Boeing here. I'm glancing at my 15. Boeing is surging here. Boeing, if this current bar, okay, so now I'm more bullish than I was pre-market talking about it. This is a power bar in the process. So let's, let's wait 5-10 minutes. But no, Frank, it means you just sit on your hands until 9:40 Eastern time. And then whatever the low of the day is for whatever instrument you're looking at, a 10-minute low is a penny under the day's low. All right, ACY. Wow, that thing rocketed yesterday, and look at the intraday gap down. So that was a halt. Look at that, folks. Can you imagine? Could you imagine you bought up here at 37 bucks and then it opened here at whatever, 17? You just lost 50% of your capital in an intraday halt. This has to be a bio. Look at this haircut. There's another 50% haircut. That's why we don't trade bios. Google, that was from yesterday, but yeah, exactly. But right, a 2-minute low